Thank you. Thank you. So, as Ron said, I'm Sarah LaCroix. I'm not really all that interesting, and so I'm just going to show you a picture of a bunny and kitty being best friends. Okay, fine. I am a business information technology student at Red River College. Anyone who's ever gone to school knows what that's like. Several weeks of hating your life and being super overwhelmed, followed by a week of not knowing what to do with yourself. That's me in a nutshell. But there's a bunny and kitty being best friends. So today, you are going to learn why our security advice sucks and how we can change that. That's really as simple as this is going to be. So more specifically, we're going to be talking about personal security as opposed to corporate security and as compared to like personal finance. This is obviously one of them evil hackers. He's stealing your money and posting to your Facebook. They all look like that, I know. So we're going to start off with a bit of a thought exercise. And while we're doing this, I just want you to think about how you'd feel if these were your friends. Would you be frustrated? Would you be angry? Would you be trying to prevent this? Would you want to mock them? Because I kind of want to mock them. There's no right or wrong answers. This is just an excuse to show you a clip of friends, really. This Wi-Fi. Grr Wi-Fi. I had you all psyched up, and now we're waiting on Wi-Fi. You know what? I actually have this stored locally. Let's do that instead. Wait, there's a wired connection? Aw, man. Like, I found the wire. Woo! Yeah, that's what she said. Am I right? Yeah. That wire looks legit. I trust it, right? I'm among friends. Okay. Ron tested it. It's all good. You know what? Nothing is showing up here, so I'm just going to play the video locally. Because I know that should work. I worked really hard to find a way to include that in there. It's like, this is happening. This is going to happen. But anyways, we've had a lot of fun here watching Friends. Now let's move on. So why our security advice sucks can kind of be broken down into two categories: ego and lack of knowledge. So this is where our advice is coming from. Oh, wow, I am like so far ahead. Okay. There we go. So where our advice is coming from right now. Fox News, our buddy who is good with computers. Pro tip, don't trust your computer to your buddy who's good with computers. Grandma's Facebook. Grandma has lots to say about security. And Reddit. Sometimes you get lucky and you get to get some advice from someone who actually works in tech. Maybe they work in security. Maybe they don't. But if there's anything I've learned in my short time in tech, it's that I know everything about computers according to everyone else. That is a lie. You know what, Dylan? One of my teachers. Yeah. So, maybe they work in corporate security. Who knows? So, Reddit doesn't always give good advice. This is not exactly news. So, let's go to more stuff. So, the other day I actually came across a Twitter thing that actually, it kind of summed everything up that I was trying to say. I mean, it uses the words programmers, but it's applicable to security as well. Like, there's a lot of belittling people who are new, trying to figure things out, and don't really know what they're doing. And a lot of this comes from pressure to be smart. We're supposed to be smarter than our peers, smarter than our clients, smarter than everyone else. A lot of it is repeating stuff we've heard from other people. I mean, if they've said it, it must be true. I'm like, yay, we know stuff, right? And if our peers know this, we're supposed to know this as well. And so we have these benchmarks, such as you're super good with Linux, like Kali. Length and complexity of passwords. The longer and more complex, the smarter you are. How many services have you blocked from your devices, and your refusal to use social media? I mean, clearly you are brilliant with security and better than everyone else if you have like 5-factor authentication and a bazillion layers of encryption to get into your device. Really, you kind of look like a douche, but everyone else thinks you're smart. Their egos. There's a lot of fear of looking silly. There's a lot of being overwhelmed by advice. There's so much coming at you from all directions. And a lot of feelings of embarrassment. It's embarrassing and somewhat shameful to not have any knowledge of security. It's scary to ask for help and not wanting to admit how and why. And there's also like this feeling of being hopeless. So a lot of times this might take the forms of, well, I have nothing to hide anyways, and well, I have no money, so like, fuck it, you know, they're lost. And then there's like this lack of knowledge on both sides. Like, InfoSec is relatively new, and the information is changing rapidly. It's hard to weigh out what the actual risks are and what is conspiracy. If you tell someone who has no knowledge of tech that you can seriously like take your stuff out of thin air and like steal your identity with it, like that sounds absolutely absurd to someone who's never opened up Wireshark. Is I got hacked, the new dog ate my homework? Is it an excuse? Do people and social media accounts get hacked that much? I don't know. How do you protect against everything? And so this trying to protect against everything is just overwhelming. And then sometimes it kind of looks like you're wearing a tinfoil hat. So this exposure to constant threats and attacks leads to kind of like a traumatic response, especially if you're a professional. You get desensitized and you're just like, whatever. Or this like hyper awareness and trying to protect against everything. So you end up with this weird overcorrection. Being a professional in security is interesting because you see firsthand the kind of stuff that can go wrong, and it's scary. I know, like, even just as a student, every time there is something, I learn something new, some sort of security thing in one of my classes, I am like this close to smashing my cell phone and going off the grid and moving to the middle of the woods because it's terrifying. I don't know how to protect against that. Yes, the internet has my passwords and yours. Dun, dun, dun. I probably should not have done shots with those people before going up on stage. That was my first mistake. So you end up with like this ego and this lack of knowledge, and this ends up in a really emotional exchange, especially if you're dealing with people you care about. So this leads to bad decisions. People don't make good decisions when they're emotional. It leads to difficulty processing information and an inability to retain knowledge. So you're giving and receiving really bad security advice a lot of the time. So I'm going to look at a little bit of an example and talk a little bit about myself. So I've been asked a lot of times for security advice, and I never really know what to say. But I think of all the stuff I think I'm supposed to say. So there's an XKCD for everything. But like, if I think about what I'm supposed to say when someone asks me for advice, it's like, well, I have to have ridiculous passwords. Don't ever save anything in your browser. Actually, you know what? Use Tor for everything. We got stickers in the back. Go get some Tor stickers. Don't turn location on your mobile devices. Don't turn any signal on. Don't even use them. Don't even use them. Throw them out. Don't download free apps. Cover your cameras. Again, we've got Tor stickers in the back, but tape will do. You don't have to get fancy. Encrypt everything, all the things. 777 is evil. 666, also not good. Don't use fingerprint or facial recognition. Don't make or take voice or video calls in public. Smart devices are not safe. I don't want anyone hacking my fridge. Kali is great for security. Kali is fantastic for security. You know what? Fuck it. We're all getting hacked anyways. Fuck it. So, would you walk into a company and tell the CTO that their security policies suck and then proceed to tell them how you've already gone ahead and changed them so that they're no longer crap? And did you tell them that they should be damn grateful for all your hard work? Okay, well, everyone who's not Dylan probably wouldn't do that if they wanted to keep their jobs. What you would do is you'd do some analysis. What are their security policies right now? What are their business objectives? You might do a SWOT analysis. You might have some other fancy methodology. What are the dependencies? What are other lines of business doing? And then if you still thought that stuff needed to be changed, you'd present a solid business case, and that could still get rejected. If it wasn't, change could be slow. They might not accept everything. And the larger the company, the fewer and the slower the changes that can be made. So you wouldn't just go in and do that. So why do we do this with people? People aren't businesses, but a lot of the same approaches apply. It's still not okay to go and tell them that their approach to security is crap. Going in ahead and fixing it for them might make things worse. So we don't need to white knight anyone else's approach to how they want to do their stuff. So there's some things that you can ask yourself, maybe ask them, have a conversation. What are they protecting? Do they have assets? Do they have a reputation? Do they have family they want to protect? How and where are they using their devices? If you're on the go all the time on your mobile devices, you probably have different considerations than someone who has one desktop that's cabled in. How receptive are they going to be for changes? Do they have any technical knowledge at all? Are they concerned about anything? What are their concerns? Do they want advertisers to stop tracking them on the internet, or are they concerned that the government is looking at their dick pics? How prepared are they for the loss of convenience associated with additional security? And what's the best approach to change? So if you think this sounds like threat modeling, it's because it is. It's just modifying the question somewhat to be suited to an individual versus a corporation. So you've done all this threat modeling, and you're pretty sure you've got grandma to stop sending you fake news and Minions memes. You hope. Probably not. But you've tried to make a really good case. But they disagree, and because they read something on Fox that said that you were wrong. Maybe you don't have all the information you thought you did. You could try explaining in a different way some of the benefits to making the changes. You could propose a different different changes, different approach to the changes. You could accept it and move on with your life. Like, yeah, you have some options here. But different doesn't necessarily mean better or worse. It just means different. So, fun fact, I'm dating someone who is in InfoSec, and we have very different approaches to security. And I've been well known for years for being that girl on Twitter and the internet in general. And something that comes up a lot is, well, he's very private and you're on the internet. How do you make that work? Well, both of us can accept that we have different approaches to security. We use our devices differently, and that's just how it is. And it's kind of the same way in any other relationship, whether it's with your parents or your significant other. Some things are just going to be done differently. Dylan, you're making me laugh, and it's funny, and I appreciate it. So security settings are kind of like vaccinations. When nearly everyone has good security settings, the few who aren't able to increase security are better protected. When only a few people have sort of decent security settings, we're all facing more risk. So while I was talking about this talk with one of my instructors, not Dylan, she was telling me this story, and so her father is really ill, and she's the primary caregiver for her aging father, and so everything is written in a notebook by hand because she doesn't know what else to do. He doesn't remember any of his logins, and if something happens to her and she can't be there in the case of an emergency, what else can she do? She needs to pass that notebook on. And so this is a situation where you're probably not going to benefit from having a different login for every single thing that this person has. You just need to protect that notebook. So I think I ended a little bit early, which is good, I guess. We were running late most of the day. But I mostly wanted to start a discussion. I'm punk rock goth on the internet, and these slides will be pinned to my Twitter thing, because words are hard. Did anyone have any questions at all? Nicole. A little bit. I mean, one of the bigger issues in that situation is that he works from home. So if I'm gaming and downloading whatever the hell I want and stuff, neither of us want that affecting his work. And so that's a bigger issue. There's been a bit of compromise in the way I think he's turned on location before now. Like, he went on a trip recently and turned on location. The trip before that, he was texting me his address and having me actually do the Google Maps overseas to where he needed to go. So, it's compromise, right? Were there any other questions? Hi, what's your question? So the thought was focus on money, and because people want to protect their money is essentially the essence of that. And actually, I based a lot of that on this because personal finance is a huge field. You can walk into any bank, whether you have like $100 to your name or $100 million to a name, and talk to a financial advisor. And we don't have that yet in security unless you are rich and famous. And so a lot of this I was modeling after that sort of thing, because people want to protect their money and their dick pics. Were there any other questions? Okay, well, I'm standing in the way of you and your food, and you're standing in the way of me and my shots. So I'm going to end this. Oh, man! Thanks a lot. Thank you.